Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Stevie Matt, and today I'll be discussing Ingrid Goes West. It was released in 2017, it was directed by Matt Spicer, and written by Spicer and David Branson Smith. Welcome to It's Not That Deep.
This has to be one of the cringiest movies I have ever seen. And I mean that in a fun way. It is absolutely a fun movie. It's just fun in how cringe it is, if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not sure that I am. I had to keep pausing, and at one point I may have almost taken a break to wash dishes. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that I really did enjoy the movie. And it's also just fun seeing movies about LA as, having lived here for now over 10 years. Because, no surprise here, but the way that the city is often portrayed on screen is but a fraction of what the actual city is like. I've said this for years, and now I'm going on video saying it, so now it's on wax. But in my experience, in my observations, the main people who complain about this city are transplants who moved to gentrified or gentrifying areas, and they never really venture outside of those gentrified zones. I mean, I too am a transplant, and I too moved here for the same reasons as a lot of them, to, get into Hollywood and make movies or whatever. But I don't know, man. The native Angelinos that I've met have been cool as hell, so that's always just funny to me.
What's interesting about this movie is that, as much as it's obviously a commentary on the age of the Instagram influencer, it actually takes a lot of care with Ingrid as a character, up until the conclusion at least. It could have easily just reduced her to a caricature of a social media stalker, but instead it takes the time to explore what could drive a person like her into such obsessive tendencies, even giving her moments of reflection and lucidity so that she really is an unexpectedly dimensional character. Instead of just treating her like a narrative punching bag to make fun of, obsessive, pathetic losers who stalk people they find online or whatever, it treats her like an actual person, and actually has just as much smoke for the target of her obsessions, Taylor Sloan and her whole entourage, who basically fulfill at least 3 of the primary food groups of LA types. So you have Taylor Sloan, the fake-ass influencer, Ezra, the insufferably pretentious hipster, and Nikki, the drugged-up circuit queen. Well, okay, I guess party boy would be more appropriate since he's straight. I mean, as far as we know, fine, whatever. Party boy. Anyway, so over the course of the movie, it's made clear that Taylor's entire online persona is crafted specifically to build social capital and help her climb the hierarchy of the social scene in LA. She also talks just like the girls Caitlin Riley is always making fun of in her iconic TikToks.
To me, best friend Sarah, thank you from the bottom of my heart for throwing me the most beautiful baby shower I've literally ever seen.
You're so funny. I love you so much. You're amazing.
Although maybe her voice is just a little less nasally. Ezra is one of those annoying hipster types that you find plaguing the coffee shops and sidewalks of like Silver Lake or Mid-Wilshire or places like that, and the movie pokes a lot of fun at types like him who pride themselves on not using smartphones and find self-promotion to be super phony. Meanwhile, he's out here calling himself an artist when all he does is take other people's work, slap some corny ass hashtag on it in block letters, and call it pop art. Like, sis, come on now. Even he knows he's full of shit, but he's still full of shit.
Self-promotion is phony. Please. Just say that you're bad at it and then work on getting better at it like the rest of us, my guy. Speaking of, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.
And then there's Nikki, the muscled up, coked out party boy who does nothing but party, but because he always got his damn titties out, and them titties do be tittying, he just titties his way up the social ladder while being an absolute menace to everyone around him. But they deal with it because his social climbing brings social capital, and with that social capital comes more money. And these people, they got money, child. A house in Venice Beach and a property in Joshua Tree, while looking to buy another one right next door in California? That is money, honey. So yeah, these people are all absolutely miserable and they despise each other, but this life they've crafted for themselves have them living large and lavish. You think they're really gonna give that up just because it's a little bit kind of extremely toxic?
Absolutely not. They're gonna ride that wave till the wheels fall off, or until they have a breakdown. which they'll then probably use to rebrand themselves into self-care or lifestyle gurus or something. I don't know. It's a wild world, let me tell you.
So anyway, back to Ingrid. We start the movie with her just absolutely tethered to her phone. Day in to day out, her face is just buried in that damn thing, just scrolling her Instagram feed, hearting pictures. And that's whatever, a lot of us do that, and when you're as lonely and isolated as she is, it kind of just becomes your connection to the world. But I'll get more into that in a bit. That's not really the first sign that something's a bit off about her. Really, the first sign is that she has all of her phone sounds on. Like, not just ringtone, but like her keyboard when she types, when she hearts posts on Instagram, and even her camera when she takes photos. Bro, how you gonna be a creeper taking photos of people's medicine cabinets and shit, and you got your damn shutter sound on?
I mean, don't be a creeper, first of all, obviously. But at least turn your shutter sound off, damn.
But no, jokes aside, like I said, up until the very last scene, the narrative actually treats her character with a lot of care and heart that I didn't expect. So while we learn that her friendship with Charlotte was extremely one-sided and based off of one comment Charlotte left on her Instagram, we also learn that Charlotte was the only person who really showed her a bit of love when her mother died. And when her mother died, she says it was like she lost her best friend. So instead of lazily trying to slap some specific diagnosis on her, or even approaching it as some sort of nebulous, undefined mental illness, it instead just frames her obsessive behavior as a result of intense isolation and loneliness and grief. She's extremely socially awkward, she struggles to form relationships, and she knows she's a lot. She just doesn't know how to do better about it and doesn't really have a support system to help her work through it.
And that's not to justify her behavior. It's extremely unhealthy and dangerous. And it's not even to say that she's not mentally ill. I could think of a few conditions that might lead to her behavior. But Hollywood has such a bad track record for portraying mental disorders in general that I'm glad that they just steered clear of it altogether and kept to a commentary on the relationship between lonely, isolated people like Ingrid and these fake internet influencers like Taylor who sell lifestyles that they're not always even living themselves.
And this brings me to Dan, and also where I feel the movie drops the ball. Dan is another LA type, the screenwriter. He is adorable, fine as hell, I want to marry him, but that's beside the point. He ends up being her love interest of sorts, and gets positioned to be the anchor that grounds her and brings her back to herself. He's the first and only person we see actually try to get to know her when he asks, "Who are you?" during their dinner date. And it turns out that they both sort of dissociate through personas that help them cope with the pain of loss and grief. His persona is a bit more comedic, of course, and creates space for a lot of Batman jokes, including a really ridiculous sex scene that is nothing but Batman Returns references. Again, appropriately cringe as hell, but I can't say I didn't appreciate it. That is my favorite Batman movie ever. So it really seems like he's going to be what finally pulls her off this path and move her towards forming a genuine human connection and some sort of at least somewhat healthy support system. But that's not actually how the story concludes, and I'm disappointed about it. So first off, the fallout between her and Taylor is a lot more sympathetic than with Charlotte, because all we know about Charlotte is that it was one-sided and based on one comment on Instagram. But here, we see Taylor constantly telling her she's the best, her favorite person ever, totally BFFing with her one second, and then the next completely ditching her when an opportunity to connect with a person who has 1 million followers comes along, aka someone who offers greater social mobility, aka someone who is of greater use to her. And Ingrid made several points when she told Taylor that she was just like her when she moved to LA, because she's right. Taylor also ain't know nobody and also lies about herself and who she is in order to make people like her so she can gain access to social networks and famous connections. So in that way, Ingrid sort of serves as a mirror to Taylor, sort of like an extreme version of herself. The only difference really is that Taylor is simply better at playing the game. She's not just a benevolent victim of a crazed stalker, but I'd argue just a more palatable version of the same kind of beast. And even if you argue she's not, the way she discards her friends when someone shinier comes along still ain't right. She really ain't no better with her fake ass. So then Ingrid records that video, and I knew right off the bat that it was going to go viral because that's how the internet is. So Dan, who she totally ditched after the failed attempt at kidnapping Nikki, is the one who called for help after he saw her video, and he's who visits her in the hospital. She feels sad and stupid, and so to cheer her up, he gives her phone, which is absolutely blowing up with notifications and messages wishing her well and showing her love and support and, all the things she's been craving and chasing this entire movie. And this is where the movie drops the ball. Again, up to this point, it had been humanizing her so well, but here, at this very last moment, this pivotal moment, it falls back on reducing her to mere commentary instead of being an actual character who finds growth. It frames her newfound internet fame as a reward at the end of the story, because that's the commentary the movie is making, right? How this social media shit ruins people. But I feel like in doing that, it forgets to care for its characters, which I feel like it'd been doing really well up to that point.
The reality is she might be able to turn going viral into some kind of coin or something, but she'll also likely develop stans who will defend all of her behavior, past and future, which will only further enable her obsessive, self-destructive behavior because now it's getting her engagement. Or it'll just turn out to be her 15 seconds of fame, and then she'll fade back into obscurity, but not without first going to further and further extremes trying to keep that momentum going and falling back into self-destructive tendencies. So without a support system in place to kind of, keep her grounded, neither are going to be healthy outcomes for her. And as a commentary, that works. Look what the internet does to people. Look at how far you have to go, how you have to reduce your deepest pain to mere spectacle just to get noticed in this impossibly fast digital age. Sure, that's what happens. But after it spends so much time and care to humanize her, I just feel like it does her and the story a great disservice by concluding in that way.
Circling back to Dan, I would have loved to see him become that sort of anchor for her to stay grounded, and or for her to look at it and be like, of course, this is what it took for these assholes to finally notice me. But it'd be too late because she no longer gives a shit because it almost ended her life and that got her all the way together. And her and Dan ride off, vaping into the sunset or some shit. I don't know. I guess this is a dark comedy, so it had to end this way, but I just feel like we get a lot of this commentary already through the portrayal of Taylor and her little squad on the dangers of chasing that social media fame, but Ingrid is our protagonist, and I would have liked to see the care she'd been shown thus far follow through all the way to the very end.
And I think that's just a personal preference of mine. These kind of stories are meant to serve as commentary or precautionary tales. They're focused less on developing a set of characters and more on utilizing a set of caricatures to illustrate whatever facet or aspect of society that they're addressing. And I think that can work on its own, and like movies like Sunset Boulevard or books like The Great Gatsby comes to mind, if I'm remembering correctly. It's legit been years, so don't hold it against me. But just stories where everybody's a terrible person. These people that you might have idolized or glamorized, well, behind the scenes, they're actually all horrible people, and you don't want to end up like them actually. Trust me, that can work.
But movies like this, that do the work of making its characters sympathetic, again, I think it actually does the story a great disservice to fall back on a cynical commentary like this. Not to pretend that what Ingrid does is harmless, it's extremely creepy and she violates so many boundaries and just ew, right? And maybe if the movie revolved around Taylor instead, this, really fake person who uses and then discards the people around her for internet fame, maybe this kind of dark ending would have sat right with me, because it's like, well, this person, this character is obviously not learning anything, not willing to grow, they're resisting growth or whatever, so this will eventually destroy her and it just is what it is. But with Ingrid, this ending follows her most reflective scene in the entire movie, where she really just unloads all of the shit she's been holding in this entire movie.
She has a line, if you don't have anyone to share anything with, then what's the point of living, that I think kind of pierces right through to the heart of what drives social media. Like, yeah, all the platforms are extremely toxic because the corporations that run them refuse to moderate them properly, because the traffic generated drives up the ad revenue regardless of who's being harmed. With special exceptions, of course, for white people and men. I know, how surprising. Don't type men are trash in anywhere on Facebook, or old Zucky will give you the boot for that one. But misinformation, totes cool. Totes okay. But I digress. At its core, the appeal of social media is connecting with other people. And for people like Ingrid, who are extremely isolated, social media can be a way to broaden their reach and connect with people that it'd otherwise be impossible for them to connect with, IRL.
She also takes it way too far, obviously. That's the whole premise of the film, it goes without saying. but she confronts Taylor about her bullshit, and Taylor shows no reflection or remorse or any signs of growth, right? She just turns around and returns to the dishonest life she's been leading. Followed by Ingrid's video where, again, she exhibits the kind of growth you hope to see in the protagonist, only for her story to conclude like that. And I don't know, I just feel like she deserved better. Her and Dan both, honestly.
So that's all I got for you today. I really kind of just went into this movie on the strength of Aubrey Plaza alone. I have come to really love her whole dry, comedically soulless, Daria-esque persona that she's crafted for herself. And I was really curious to see if she could carry an entire movie with that energy, and by God, she actually did it. This is a bit of a dark turn on her normal character, but that gives her space to add layers and dimensions to that character. And it's just really unfortunate that the movie failed to follow through with the care that it had been showing Ingrid all the way through to the end. But overall, I was very impressed with this movie. The commentary it has on social media is still not perfect, but far better than what I would have ever expected from a Hollywood production. Because, yeah, they might utilize social media for, promotion or controversy or even ideas. Yes, they mine our timelines for ideas, so if you have a good one that you can develop yourself, keep it. Develop it yourself and sell it. Do not give away free ideas. But otherwise, they tend to be so out of touch when it comes time to actually examine the dynamics at play. So again, this movie was far from perfect, but it accomplished so much more than I ever expected it to.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button to show some love. Feel free to leave a comment down below. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another one. Check me out on Twitter and Coffee for more ways to stay up to date and show support. Take care of yourselves and each other.
And I'll see you in the next video.